Good evening. It's the 9th of July, 2025. Granby Conservation Meeting is now in session, 7 o'clock. Thanks for everyone coming, and we have at least one applicant. We have Tom Quinlan, our building inspector, Mr. Mark Stinson from DEP, with a very serious look in his face tonight, and our usual crew, and we do have quorum tonight. So let's start off with open session, building permits, Board of Health applications. Do we see any? We see none. Okay, we'll shift immediately to administrative duties. Commentary. Tonight we have two hearings. First hearing will be the Red Fire Farm at 7:30. We have some directives for them. Hopefully we can push them along and get them out of here in short order. Second will be a new hearing for the Forge Pond Dam Restoration Project, and I don't see anybody here from that project, but I think, Dave, they'll be here virtually, at least.
No, Dave Leonard is going
Dave
to
Leonard
be here.
will be here.
The others are gonna be
Okay, all right, we'll deal with them as appropriate. So let's post our next meeting, August 12th, 2025, 7 PM here at Carnegie Hall. Approved minutes, June 10th, 2025. Marissa, did you review the minutes?
I did.
Were they substantially in order? Okay.
Yes.
Ann, did you look at them? Okay, I did not. Ed, did you look at them? I did not either.
We've had it for a month.
I know. We got
Okay, never
a
mind.
lot of things to do.
Fine.
So I move we approve minutes as drafted by Dave.
Yes.
Second.
We need votes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's taken care of. Bills to pay, Desolate Consulting. Dave, do you have your timesheet, sir?
We do.
Thank you. Got an invoice here dated 7/1/2025 for the month of June with a total of 55 hours. At a rate of $30 an hour, which is a total of $1,650. And we have an itemized, I don't know if you want to go through the
No,
itemized.
wait a
Okay.
minute.
Itemized by week.
A lot of projects there, Dave. You did a lot of work last month. Yeah.
We all.
That's
that now.
Okay,
Make a motion to,
yeah, Dave, Ed makes a motion that we approve as submitted. I second.
Right.
All in favor? Aye. All right, that takes care of that. Financial accounts update. Ed, do we have a cherry sheet from the city or?
I didn't see one in here.
Okay,
I do have some other correspondence, but
yeah. By the way, we do have a new town manager. Her name is Tammy Martin. Do you know anything of her?
Say that again, Pamela.
Tammy, Tammy, Martin. No relation to Christopher.
is that prerequisite last name?
Yeah, I know. That probably didn't hurt. Okay, number 6, outreach education plans of the week. Marissa, Ann,
So it's fleabane.
what is it called?
Fleabane.
How do you spell that?
Fleabane. And it all
Fleabane,
and
okay.
it does help get rid of fleas. Seriously. So if you chop them up and chop it up and put it in your bed, under your bed, this is what they used to do. The colonists used to do. It will help get rid of fleas.
Oh,
You can also burn it like an incense and that
Okay.
so. And anyway, so
Does it have a wetland indicator
it's
status?
more like facultative. It's more like all over the place. But I have a ton of it growing about 15 feet from the brook.
Wow, okay.
And I mean, it can be each plant lets out 100,000 seeds.
Wow.
So it's very prolific, and it can become invasive in your property
Uh-huh.
because of that. So some people don't like it and consider it invasive. I kind of do like it because it gets tall and it's with the little white daisy flowers. So I leave it in patches. So it can be little flowers are white. This is like not doing well because I cut it. And it can be quite high, like up to my knees, even though.
And could you pass it around so we could look at it? Thank you.
And, so it's in the aster family.
Oh, it is an aster. That's what I was gonna ask. Okay, it is an
It's
aster
very
then.
common to New England
Okay.
and Massachusetts, obviously.
Hmm.
It's been used, oh, it's a major pollinator also.
It is,
Can
okay.
you spell it again?
Like flea, F-L-E-A, and then bane.
F-L-E.
Flea bane,
I got the bang part.
flea bane.
So the bees and the butterflies love it. It also helps to repel, besides fleas, ticks, gnats, mosquitoes. So it's actually good to have in your yard
Okay,
because they don't like the smell. And so it's white or sometimes pink or red for the flowers. And the Indians used it for fevers, heart stuff, eye stuff, skin problems. And they took the roots and made tea out of it for colds, coughs, and congestion. That's about it.
okay, well, thank you. So flea bane, which is a facultative plant.
Bang with a G or bang
B with a B, like in boy.
with an E?
F-L-E-A,
Got that.
B as in boy, A-N-E.
E. Flea bane, bane.
Like the bane of your existence.
No.
Okay, Ann, thank you so much. Marissa, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, we went together,
Okay.
but she had to go to a wake, so then I just finished and
Okay, wonderful. Thank you both so much for that. Okay, news announcements. Ed, what do we have, sir?
You want to correspondence?
Yeah.
DEP notice, wetlands program guidelines on Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act provisions regarding application of herbicides along rail lines. I thought we had read this in last.
Yeah, that's standard practice.
June 13th, 2020. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought we
yeah.
read that in. It was today. So, these are special conditions. I believe this is what you, DEP sent out as a guideline for these, for the herbicides, right?
Yeah, for guidance.
Well, that's just a sample from another project. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Which, Dave, I don't know if you want to scan this in somehow and put it in as a,
Did you already have the meeting on the RDA
which one?
Which project?
for the railroad?
Railroad?
Railroad.
We don't have any rail lines in town. Nothing in town. Zero. Nothing. Nothing at all.
The
They're-
power lines, transmission
They're
lines.
around.
We got plenty of transmission lines.
Review totally different,
Oh, they are. Why so?
because transmission lines don't move.
It's a utility.
Well, yeah, it's a utility. So utility lines are not subject to the same set of herbicide rules that railroads are.
Okay, which ones use more aggressive herbicides? The railroads?
I don't know, tell you the truth. I think whatever they use, it's all been approved by Mass DAR.
So no Agent Orange
No Agent Orange.
and no DDT. Okay,
No DEP.
okay.
They're not approved in Mass, so.
Would Mass Highway fall into this category?
Only if they do the same thing as the railroad did, which would be to get approval of resource area boundaries. Then DOT could apply herbicides under the same guidance that the railroads do.
So potentially we could have something similar to it under the,
Yeah, DOT's only done it once or twice in 15 years.
right.
Do they give any particular
What's that, Bill?
Do they specify any particular chemicals in this document, or is that it's in another set of documents, I'm guessing, Okay,
It doesn't matter what chemicals they use, because you're not regulating the chemical. All you're doing, if you had the railroad, all you're doing is improving the resource area boundaries. That's it.
I gotcha, okay. All right, very good. Anything else, Ed?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. News announcements, that was it. Site visits to be scheduled. Dave, I think we're somewhat delinquent on 49 Aldridge. Any commentary on that?
None.
I would recommend at this point, Why don't we wait until the vegetation subsides a little bit before we go down there?
All right, would you recommend that also for the Five Corners drainage?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not too keen on going on these sites this time of year for obvious reasons.
Well, we will have, Porch on-site visit coming up.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have
So
to
that'll,
put our Tyvek suit on for that one.
right.
But 245 Amherst Street, that potential violation, we are gonna have to
That's what we're
attend
gonna
that.
have to
Yeah, we're gonna have to do
But
that.
he said there's a trail,
Okay,
so addressed appropriately.
yeah.
He was away, if you remember, so.
I got trails behind my house and now they're 5 feet tall, so.
So,
Dressed appropriately indeed. Site visit determinations. Dave, anything
no,
since last meeting? And Ed, any other correspondence received?
I called up Dave and gave us an honor.
I talked to Bill about that. Do you want to tell Mr. Stinson our decision about uh, Taylor Street? You know who I'm talking
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, we can bring it up. It's 14 after. We had an inquiry from a homeowner regarding an abutter of theirs regarding, was,
about. Regarding the neighbor violating a wetland
well,
and using it for a business purpose.
yeah, they've got a horse farm.
Yeah, but the point is, they've now reached out to Springfield, and they made a complaint to DEP, that the local commission hasn't done anything, and the town's not responding, the planning board's not responding. And they brought it to Mark, and Mark brought it to us. Do we want to get involved?
Did Michael call you? Mike McHugh, did he call you?
Well, yeah, he and I talked about it today.
Okay,
He sent me the complaint with the applicant, anonymous complaint whited out. So basically what Mike wants to know is, are you guys gonna do anything? If you are, fine. If you're not gonna do anything, let me know so I can tell Mike.
okay.
And my only suggestion after we spoke, Bill, was to when we spoke last time, the frustration was the homeowner doesn't know what to do. And so they're reaching out to the Conservation Commission. Evidently, they reached out to the planning board because they're seeing a business, in their mind, it's a business, being used on residential property. And they're not happy with the responses or lack of responses so far. So do you have a commentary you'd like to jump?
Dave, is the technical thrust runoff, stormwater runoff, is that the main?
Technical trust now, what Mark was told, they paved a driveway without a permit. Well, in Granby, you don't need a permit to pave a driveway.
Right.
Number two, they're claiming that their drinking water well has now got a high level of bacteria pollution, and they feel it's the cause of this driveway. So that's why,
Now,
that's a Board of Health.
who paved the driveway, the offending party or
Yes.
the offended party?
No, it's all on us. The paved driveway is for the offending.
Or the offending, the
people that-
alleged
the
offending
people
party?
that-
Okay,
that
all right.
use the horse
The
barn.
people with the horse
So
barn,
they're
okay.
the people that are doing this.
Okay.
And the neighbor now feels that their well has been contaminated by a high level of bacteria because of this driveway. And the lot, as you know, is an estate lot.
Yes.
So what they did was they paved this long driveway to get up to their house, and this house isn't even next to it. There's another estate lot driveway separating them. So they're a lot away, if you will, but those are only 40 feet or 60 feet wide for the driveways. I can't remember.
Why don't we do a site visit staying on the offended party's land? We're not gonna go on the,
Have a nice conversation.
yeah, have a nice
with
little
them.
chit chat and come up with a game plan.
Yes, that was.
That's what we'll do then, Mark.
Okay, just let me know,
Yeah,
one way or the other, I
Yeah.
don't care which way it turns out.
yeah, and I'm
I
gonna,
think this way we can put it.
and I'm also on the Board of Health now, Mark, so I can bring it to the Board of Health regarding the well.
Okay,
So I'll bring it up at our Board of Health meeting next Tuesday,
all right.
okay? Marissa, Ann, any comments on that?
No, I'd like to go with you guys.
Tom Quinlan, Building Inspector. Yes, Tom.
Oh,
Yes.
So I've been working on that, because of the complaint of the business.
Oh, you are, okay.
And, nothing but
Because
conservation.
Tom's zoning enforcement officer, by the way.
No,
At
it's
this
building.
point, I could talk to them tomorrow, the people complaining, I cannot prove there's a business. The, person says that there's no business run out of there anymore. The only reason I don't know what you wanna call it, but the riding area with the jumps was moved because the neighbor has a beaver dam, which flooded the
That's-
existing, which I.
That's right,
when I
that's right,
pulled out of there,
that's right.
it was clearly it was underwater.
Okay.
So they moved it to another section. If they want it, she does want to do the riding, she can go for a special permit through planning, it's allowed, because they do have 10 acres or more now. But at this point, I have no proof that there is, commercial.
Is that property in agriculture, to your knowledge?
No, it's residential.
Oh, it is.
It's almost,
So they haven't run a horse, they haven't boarded horses continuously over the last 5 years then?
I don't think they're boarding, there's no barn.
Well,
This is a residence.
I thought that the folks that own the big property have a big horse barn out back. It's a beautiful barn.
Well, it doesn't show up.
Boarding horses is not agriculture. Don't forget.
Okay.
Tom, do you think what you're doing negates our need to get involved?
It's separate, I talked to council today for quite a while, we had a meeting with the registrator and.
So you're doing it on the
I-
business
I
side.
do with the, of course, Conservation Board of Health, so that's gonna be, after I speak with them tomorrow, that's where they're gonna be unfortunately pushing for you to see what you have.
Okay, all right, so conservation will do a visit. I'll bring it up at the Board of Health meeting next week, and you'll work on the zoning end of it. So we'll have a three-pronged investigation. Okay, fair enough.
And I'll keep you informed, Mark, as far as what
Okay.
happens there.
Thank you, everybody. Again, it's very good having Tom at our meetings.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
And Tom comes to our Board of Health meetings too. Of course, you can stay home when you do those, because we have virtual. Very good. All right, it's,
Before we leave that, Bill, remember, we missed last time the other business. These are, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Talk about these,
right,
just so we can enter them into the. record.
right. 43 New Ludlow Road, Dave?
These four projects on the other business side are folks that came to us with projects and they just missed a conservation meeting. So all of these projects, the first one at 43 Ludlow Road is a small home addition, but because the land is in proximity of Stony Brook wetlands, we needed to at least wave our hands on it to say, how close are you? And it turns out they're over 500 feet away from the actual wetland boundary. So that was an easy one. The 119 Bachelor Street and 511 Amherst Street are two pools, new pools at, by Giuliano's. So again, they were outside of the wetland buffer, 100-foot buffer. So we were able to give them a letter stating that we have no comment on their building permit. And then Bachelor Street, it's a raw property, raw land, no house. It's lot 17. It's across from 326 Bachelor Street. And again, that's up on a hill, and there's no wetland anywhere on the property, much less, it's a large piece of property. And then 13 West Street, this property is right across the street from the West Street building. And they want to put on a solar array in the front yard. Because if you're familiar with that property, there's trees all around the back of the property. So to get the best solar access, if you will, they need to be fairly close to West Street, which is where they're going to place this. So by doing that, they are outside of the 100-foot buffer. So we don't do this often because we are mandated to, all projects have to come to this commission to have a decision made. But for simple projects, and when they just miss a meeting, to make the resident wait 4 weeks, we're not breaking too many laws, are we, Mark, by doing this? So,
But, and did you convey that to Tom?
oh yeah, Tom is on board, and his,
Yeah,
the thing I'm gonna learn about on
And
Thursday.
Tom, yeah, when is your workshop? Tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday morning.
Okay, are you gonna go to that, Dave?
Attending.
Okay, wonderful, good, excellent. So you get up to speed on the software and on the protocol and all that sort of thing. Wonderful.
So that's what those four projects are about.
Okay.
So,
All right, we got 7 minutes to go. Mark, I'm gonna give you 7 minutes to talk about what you want, so you're on the clock. Go ahead, my man.
Okay, so just so you guys are aware, you should be aware that about the COVID tolling period for orders of conditions and determinations. So if you had an order of conditions or a determination that was valid on or before March 9th, 2020, it was automatically extended for 462 days.
Is that a year and a half?
Close enough for government.
Yeah.
No, it's actually is for, so you don't have to do anything because it's automatically happens. And then if you had, so it's theoretically possible, if you had a order that was issued in, let's say, 2019, and it got the 462 days, and then if it was still valid between January 1, 2023 and January 1, 2026, it automatically gets another automatic 2-year extension.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
this
there's a
written
lot
down
of
in
words
there?
out there.
Is this written down anywhere?
Yeah, it's on the Secretary of State's website.
So the original order had to be issued prior to that date, 2020?
March 9th, 2020.
Yeah, it's state specific.
So everybody went home March 10th, 2020.
Okay, so if we issued an order on March 9th, 2020, and it would automatically be killed 2023, it's good for another year and a half.
Well, 400.
Yeah, just round it off to a year and a half.
462 days. Then if it was valid on January 1, 2023,
Yeah,
it automatically got an extra 2 years.
yeah. Well, no, it's not 2 years. 433 days, that's about a year and a half. That's not 2 years.
No, that's,
Two total.
there's two things.
Two total.
I'll write it down. It's on the website, I'll put
I've had it in my newsletter, but I know you speak to
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. All right, so.
You sent him a
so
newsletter?
We can issue people a 2-year extension.
Well, actually, you don't need to. What you want to do, though, is just do a Word doc attachment saying, due to the COVID.
COVID extension.
Or due to the business extension the governor signed in November of 2022, you already have an automatic 2 years. Whatever.
Okay.
You come up with a date.
Okay.
But you don't want to make it official because that then makes it sound like you're giving them extra.
Right.
It's already.
Right, okay. So we'll have Dave look at those on a case-by-case basis. Okay, Mark. The next question I have for you on the federal level, is EPA Boston being cut any funding that you know of?
No, the only thing I'm hearing about funding being cut is NRCS and National Resource Conservation Service. They've closed a bunch of offices. They've lost a bunch of people.
Wow.
They were supposed to close Fish and Wildlife in South Hadley, but I heard they reversed that decision. So it's basically a day-to-day thing. Who's still here and who isn't?
Is it affecting the folks up on 116, that office?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Oh. In the Farm Bureau, are they being affected, the Farm Bureau folks?
Yeah, everybody's being affected.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's a lot of grant money that's been affected,
Wow.
and a lot of the legislators or legislators are upset. A lot of the people who are going to be the beneficiary of the grants are upset. So I think everybody has to just wait it out and see what's going to happen. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen. At least not at my level.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, I don't want to opine any more politically than needed. That's enough. I don't have to say any comments. Okay, very good. Well, it's close enough to 7:30, so why don't we open our hearing on Red Fire Farm at this time? 7:30 PM, 34 Carver, continuation notice of intent, Red Fire Farm, proposed project including demolition of a barn, construction of a new barn with associated gravel parking area for 30 vehicles, a new sanitary, on-site sanitary disposal system, public water supply also proposed. All proposed work is limited to the BVW buffer only. We have Mr. Jeff Squire from Berkshire Design here. So Jeff, if you could keep it to 10 minutes or less, that would be fabulous.
I will do my best.
Thank you. Okay. Did-
Which folder should I open?
I would open the presentation folder.
The today's folder?
No, it would be.
The-
whichever
the top
original
one.
presentation was.
The top one, yeah.
This one up there.
So yeah, there aren't too many updates this year. We've advanced the septic design, but that's all out of your jurisdiction. That's being, worked on and finalized. We've got a design and that will be, submitted to the Board of Health soon.
Yeah, because we meet next Tuesday.
Sure.
And if you can get it to Dick Bombardier or Colleen in a day or two, maybe we can discuss it in earnest at the meeting next week. But we do need at least a week to review that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but, and just for the Conservation Commission, for,
Yeah.
that's all out of resource area, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
under somebody else's jurisdiction. And you can scroll through a couple of slides if you want, not to rehash all of, original presentation. But again, it's the
Right.
approval of the existing barn, that house will remain. They've got a slab and have started, because of, funding.
Right,
requirements,
right,
funding requirements. So, the project, you can go one more slide, maybe just, that's easier to, read, I suppose. The new barn is up in the upper right-hand corner, as you can see. There's a gravel parking lot proposed. We are within buffer zone, obviously, but we really worked hard to stay out of the riverfront area. So the design hasn't changed at all. Just looking through our records, I thought we had provided some stormwater information with respect to the rain gardens. If you haven't, I can give you the summary. I did look at what our engineers put together. It wasn't a full stormwater report. We don't have any discharges within resource areas.
That-
We are.
But we
Keep
still
going,
like to
please.
see your flow generation
Sure.
for different level storms, including a 100-year storm,
So I can run through the summary of what.
Yeah, well, we don't have to discuss it tonight, but give that to Dave and we'll review it in the next review
You seen
window.
that previously?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
we're going down the road.
One thing I have to commend is they did their darndest to get this thing as far away from the river as possible. So you've done the best you can there, Jeff.
Sure. And I appreciate that. And, so the only other real element to this is the public water supply
Right,
well.
right.
Required as, the use for that farm and their intended use, because there is gonna be public in there and the nature of the farm business, they need to be a public water supply well.
Right.
We've advanced that process with DEP. I think we've got a slightly revised location, which just moves it just a hair within riverfront area. Again, this is something that we worked out in site visits, with them, Stakeland Field. It's
How many square feet of riverfront, Jeff, roughly?
Well, so there's an updated set of plans in there for the public water supply well that was approved preliminarily, by DEP. I think on May 12th was the letter.
Yeah, I know they gave you guys three location options.
Yep. So we've advanced one of them.
Okay.
And so, so this would be another file in that
Is
system.
this the sheet we're looking at? For some reason, it's slow download.
Okay, yeah, it's a big file, so that's what it is, yeah.
Which-
Anyway, it moves the well location just inside the riverfront. It doesn't change the jurisdiction or your control over it in terms of its construction. So all of that is still remaining the same in place, but that's moving forward. So that's the latest on that, on that avenue. But again, that's, my understanding is the well itself is not really under your jurisdictional.
Right.
Under your purview at least, but the construction of it and installation of it is, but all of that will be done in accordance with the requirements, so.
Okay, anything else, Jeff?
No, that's.
Okay.
It's-
All right, I'll go last. Ed, any comments on the technical end?
So,
And Dave,
I
Marissa,
have-
anything? Ann?
I have.
Yeah, Dave and I have had some discussion on this. And the first thing is the proposed work area for the well driller to be able to operate. And Dave, why don't you opine on that? You've spent a lot of time researching this.
Yeah, your drawings aren't that different, Jeff. And I think I have it here. What we're basically looking at, I can talk about it. The placement of the silt fence or the erosion control barriers, we find if they're too close to the work, those are really work limit lines. So in our opinion, you can't have them too close to the actual work. They need an area for the workers to get around. We can't have people walking on them because as I understand it, we're proposing it's not a fence, it's actually a wattle. And those are too easy to get crushed, get walked on. And
Are you
everything
gonna
else.
back the wattle up with a fabric fence as well? A geotextile fence?
Not what they said earlier, but.
Yeah, I
that might
don't
be
know,
good.
I'd have to refresh my, I mean,
What we're suggesting is, especially in the well, and we know it's right up against both the riverfront area and the wetland buffer, to put a 25-foot radius circle around the well and have all your work within that 50-foot circle and nothing outside of it. So even though you're in the actual protected area, you're going to limit any disturbance outside of that 25.
Yeah, because you're gonna have drilling mud, you're gonna have cuttings, it's gonna
Well,
be
they
a
are
complete.
proposing this infiltration. This-
Oh, okay, oh, they got a
That is
decanting,
part of
a
the project.
decanting basin,
But
okay,
that
that's
wants
good.
to be in this 20
Good, wonderful,
50-foot.
wonderful, wonderful.
Also, when you go back to the other drawing here, you can see the placement of the silt fence or soil erosion. It's too close to the driveways.
Cause of it.
And you can move this silt fence up to 20, we don't want to go any closer to the wetland than 25 feet. I think the only place you're going to have an issue is this particular area here because the wetland literally is right there. That's the boundary. So you can go within 25 feet of it, but move it away from the work area because we don't want anybody crossing that line. You can't walk, you can't store, you can't pile things. God forbid a tractor run over it, then you won't ever see it because the wattle is only 9 inches wide. There's no detail on here other than your note talking about
I think the larger construction plans, the notice of intent for the
Does it-
farm itself, should have all the construction, the erosion control.
All right.
These plans that you're looking at now are specific to the public water supply well, as per the requirements of DEP, so this is.
Well, these are comments, and I don't know if we need to ask to change the drawing, but these are comments that are going to be in the order of conditions. It's placement of where that water wants to
Yeah,
be, or stormwater.
and Dave has already drafted a order of conditions for you, Jeff.
Well, yeah, that's
We're not gonna finish up tonight, but he's well on the way to finish the crafting of that document.
So other than everything else, we've already confirmed where your boundaries are. We've confirmed where the wetland boundary is and the high water mark. So those are confirmed. The placement of the building in relationship to the 100-foot buffer, we actually measured that in the building foundation. It's a couple feet outside of that. So you're golden in that regard. And where the existing house is, there is parking within, and I don't know, this is the design of the parking was kind of, you were forced into something here, as I understand it, but it does cause other issues.
Jeff, how are you gonna control the grades in the parking area such that the water finds its way into the basins and not into the buffer and channelize? There's no.
We're trying to direct as much water as we can in there.
Are you gonna be, are you supervising construction on this?
I guess it's probably not, but if it's a requirement of the condition, that's fine.
Well,
This has been a.
Mark, this is a typical project where they do a nice job putting these NOIs together and we issue orders. But if no one's gonna supervise construction, the grades in that parking lot are key and critical. They're key and critical. Would it not be reasonable to ask Jeff to be on board to ensure the grades are such that water finds its way into the basin naturally?
Yeah, you just gotta be clear under what conditions he's supposed to be on site. Because it can cost a lot of money.
Oh, I realize that. The other thing you could do, Jeff, is you could provide contours for the TRG or whatever you're using, and then the contractor would just follow the grades.
They are on there. They are.
My eyes are bad, I can't.
Contours on there. It's a very flat site.
All right, well,
So-
if it's flat, that's another problem. You gotta find those basins. The water has to find its way in.
Well, there's really no basin. It's a,
There's two rain gardens. that
there's a
are-
rain garden.
And I'm guessing you're not berming, you're gonna do country drainage, you're not berming. So I'm just concerned that that bottom curved area is gonna discharge into the buffer.
But this is,
Undoubtedly will.
Yeah, well, that's what we got.
The pond road there now.
Yeah, well, we gotta try to do the best we can to get that water into the basins, into
Yeah,
the
I
rain garden.
did hear you use the term storm discharge.
You've got no claim outlet, there's no, this is country drainage, it's, we're relying on the existing.
You are making that still,
Except for the roof of the building, how are there no gutters on the building, correct?
I don't believe so.
But again, that's still gonna channelize, so you gotta be careful on that. That's gonna be carefully designed. Anyway, let's not sweat those details at this point. One other matter is the fee, your permit fee. And Dave, why don't you opine on that if you would?
yeah, we looked at the fees associated with all projects and noted that the fee that was identified, and we asked Gwen about this, and she was above her pay grade, so she didn't talk about that. But the fee identified was really, it looked to be something for residential use. So this category 1 really isn't meant to be used for a project like yours. So it's either a 2 or a 3, and we did some research here, and we feel a 3B is a better choice for you because it's cheaper. If we go to 2, we have to start picking apart everything you've got on the parking lot, the drainage, the well that's off on the side. It comes up to $1,500 pretty quickly.
Sure.
And 3B is $1,050.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Jeff, Red Fire is not a 503c3 nonprofit. It's a for-profit corporation. Is that correct?
That's something I can't answer for sure.
I don't think that triggers anything, Bill, here.
Well, I just wanted to know for the record.
It's a separate
Yeah,
subject.
I
I don't think it
realize that.
triggers anything.
But again, I think category 3, we're giving him a break with the category 3
3B.
designation, yes.
So we can, I appreciate that and don't
Yeah.
disagree with
Yeah,
that.
otherwise we'd end up with a bunch
You
of
need-
$500
you need anything
ads.
from us written?
I don't think so, no. At least not at this point. We can do the math and split the difference and we'll provide a check to
Yeah.
EP and send that out.
And it's not in a riverfront, so we don't need that multiplier, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You know, the 50%. All right.
So that's, yes, we can certainly
Public comment?
get that taken care of.
Yeah, let me ask one more question. So Jeff, going forward, I'd like to, again, we're gonna get the crowd in a minute here. But we'll review the your stormwater discussion. I'm somewhat concerned about runoff off that TRG driveway and how you're gonna manage that and get as much water as possible into those rain garden basins. I really like you to work on that.
And so, well, just so a couple of the constraints that we've been faced with, from clients is there's a row of nut trees on the left side of the site
Yeah.
that they want to preserve, so we're trying to minimize grading
Okay.
there. Everything outside of, where
You
we're.
know what I would have done? I would have put a nice little swale, dig a nice little 1 or 1.5 foot swale around the entire perimeter of that area, right there. Just put a little
We do
swale.
have a gravel
That
strip.
is what that
We are
is.
showing a stone strip.
You do? Okay,
Yeah, that
all right,
is a
okay.
stone
All
infiltration
right,
strip.
all right.
What's the activity currently between where you show the parking lot proposed and the wetland flags? What's there now? Is it being
It's
used?
just field.
Just metal?
Right, and so that was the other goal with this, is probably leave as much of that in place, because that provides as
It's old.
good a treatment and control of stormwater as anything, given the limited area.
Okay, so that storm filter strip, that'll convey into either basin, is that
Those
correct?
they will convey as much water as they can.
Okay, yeah, as long as you can minimize the bypass across that.
You guys want
And just Yeah, right.
No, I'm just saying, talking about preserving that section maybe from, the 25 feet out from the wetland. As,
What are you referring to?
as a easement, if you will, or restricted area.
Or
So,
a no work zone type
well,
thing?
for future, this area is
Well,
preserved.
currently, Ed, this won't work. What's shown on the drawing won't. You can't have a wattle that close to the work zone.
I'm just saying, other projects I've done outside of this town, that commissions have always, placed these little signs saying protected area, no disturbance. And you say, well, it's either 50 feet, 75 feet, or 100 feet.
That's
If they're not gonna develop it, leave it as a meadow, why not preserve it? I mean, that's something that if you want to talk about.
Old
I
meadow.
mean, my only hesitation would be if they have any intention of, putting blueberries or something, some
Yeah.
other crop there that they would use for agricultural
Yeah, yeah.
purposes.
Yeah,
Because they're
I don't know.
place.
But if it's gonna be a meadow and they don't intend on developing it, maybe use it
Yeah,
for public education.
and I think there's a fairly steep drop off there.
Right here.
Yeah, elevation wise, at the wetland boundary, it's a real steep drop off there as well.
No, but that's something we had talked about.
Yeah.
One project
We
we
did,
did
yeah,
on
we
Bachelor
did,
Street.
oh yeah, we did
had
it
a
on,
monument.
we did a monument at a couple of projects.
That's not the placement of the silt fence.
No, it has nothing to do with silt fence. It's
No,
just
no, it's
preserving
talking about monumenting
for-
an offset
Preserving.
off the wetland boundary.
Yeah.
What do you, and Marissa, what do you guys think?
We've only done it on one project.
You think it's necessary? Do you think it's necessary?
Well, I think anything to protect, protect property, especially this neighbor's property, because they were very concerned about this project. For the stormwater, to do whatever we can, whatever you guys can.
Yeah, and I can run through the quick summary of, what we provided or what's designed here, but, obviously we're somewhat limited in terms of, what we can do and resources, without a giant engineered system with outputs and discharges and.
Yeah, oh, I realize that.
Yeah. This is a working farm, this is their farm store or market.
But I think the argument would be if they encroach beyond that work line, AKA the filter strip, by definition, that's a violation subject to enforcement.
I
And they,
imagine they got a number of places.
Yeah, and they should-
farming.
yeah, yeah, and they should recognize that. So I think by monumenting this site, it's kind of,
So I think there's a natural place that you wanted to make that recommendation at the tree line.
Is it the tree,
Because-
tree line?
At the tree line, I could see doing it. This is all that gravel.
that's right, right.
And the bush that we walked through. This is the house that's remaining there. This is the barn that was removed. So, and the new building actually sits in this location here. It's not a building, it's a foundation, but.
And yeah, I think we do have a slide that overlays the plan on the area. I'll just,
So, sorry.
So Ed, you want a monument at the end?
I'm just bringing it up. I don't.
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
never- at one time we had bought these signs. We were gonna
Oh, yeah, well,
produce.
if you had a wet meadow, with a low gradient wet meadow,
I think
it's
that's
kind
what
of
we talked
useful.
about that.
But this, I think the topography is kind of well defined. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary on this site.
Well, it just didn't seem like they were doing any activity in there.
Yeah,
Why aren't they working it either as
Right.
farming or?
Well,
Right.
this is outside of their APR. That's
Right,
another
right.
big reason they're in this corner.
Okay. Okay, so let's bring it up to the audience. Any citizens or anyone else want to comment? Sir, are you here for this project? Oh, you're Dave. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you? So anyone commenting on this? No?
General, yeah.
I think we're all set then.
Now, the goal is to wrap this up at the next meeting. And what we talked about was getting a stormwater report similar to the SWIP. And I don't think that's not what you're talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a considerable.
That's another.
Yeah, SWIP is construction only, construction phase only. It's EPA. You send it into EPA Boston. And it's a separate document and that ends asset construction. Yeah. And you're less than an acre.
Because I did a little bit of homework here and see if I can get it open. Not there. You didn't include your septic system? That's an area of disturbance. When you add just the area of disturbance on the site, you're right, it's under an acre by a lot. But when you add the area of disturbance that the septic system will cause, it puts you over an acre. But that technically, from what I'm learning, is an EPA thing. It has nothing to do with the wetlands protection.
That's right.
And we haven't finalized the septic plans either, so.
Right.
How big that is.
Right.
Well, I was going off of the plan that was the drawing that's on there. So, and I understand that's just an area holder probably, where the
Yeah,
septic will go.
we've gone through a number of iterations, like I said, we're close to having a final design.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff, I move that we continue till next month, tying up these loose ends?
Yes, I think, just with the understanding that, we'll provide a stormwater summary. Again, this isn't intended to meet all the standards. It's, it's not subject to the, stormwater standards because of the lack of a discharge and, so we'll provide a summary. We'll speak to, talks to the capacity of those gardens, those depressions. It talks about velocity. It talks about,
Again,
water quality.
yeah, run
All that stuff.
a 100-year model, please.
Yep.
Run a
And
100-year
so,
model.
we've got to slow down.
As evidenced down in Texas, please. I always tell people, run 100-year models nowadays, because 100 years happens every couple of years now.
Yeah, the discharge rates out of both of those are well below.
Oh,
Scott.
yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
The other
So-
thing just before you leave though, just so you know, our next meeting, what we talked about is, I can't remember what we said, but
August 12th.
Yes, August 12th.
you have to, in other words, I'm talking about when we need that information for us to be able to act will be July 25. So if you can get the report to us no later than, it's actually August 1st is the
Right,
deadline.
I can send it probably by the end of the week, because we've got it.
Okay.
And-
And then get us the,
That'll give us enough time to absorb it, and
Yeah.
hopefully we should be able to
and get us the permit
give
checks
you
and
order
all
of
that.
conditions at the next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, so I move we continue. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Thank you. Mr. Leonard, I haven't seen you in ages, Dave. I haven't seen you in about 10 years.
I drag a chair.
Yeah, come on up. Come on up.
Always, bad surgery.
Let me do the read-in. 2321 School Street, Forge Pond repair, dam repair. Notice of intent by the town of Granby for the replacement of a dam or repair of a dam. You're not replacing the dam, you're repairing the dam that has been deemed in poor condition. Proposed work includes the widening of a portion of the brook below the dam, constructing of a new retaining wall or training walls, and the removal of a decrepit building and shed. And Dave, you're working with McClure, and you're working with Ecotech, and you're working with yourself.
That's right. I think Scott Jordan of Ecotech is supposed to try to come in.
Yeah, I think he's online. He should be online soon. Yeah.
I am on.
Is Chris McClure going to be online too, or no?
Excuse me?
Is Chris McClure going to be online?
He is on.
He's apparently some kind of testimony or something, or for some expert witness.
Oh, okay.
So,
According to this, he's online,
Okay.
or somebody is online. for
This is
McClure.
Scott Jordan. Okay.
There's
Scott, can you hear us? Is Chris there?
Chris.
Oh, hi, Chris. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Okay, very good. All right. So, who's going to do the spiel?
well, why don't I start off and then, once we start talking about the birds and the bees,
Yeah.
turn
All
it
right.
over to the expert over there, but,
Where do you want me to?
Go back about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, the Office of Dam Safety declared the dam, Forge Pond Dam, was being unsafe, and they issued an order to either fix it or take it down. And over the years, there's been discussion as to what to do with it, the decision came to, okay, let's fix it, as opposed to take it down. There really hasn't been a lot of study, there is intense studies to do on feasibility of taking it down. But it probably would be pretty devastating to the environment. But anyway, last year, I think it was last year, with the direction of going to fixing the dam, the town applied for some funding through state agency, for the seawall and dam construction program that's out there, and they were like a 75% grant for the design and permitting for the structure.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is this state-derived money or is it state and federal-derived money?
It's just a state.
So it's not subject to the fellows in Washington pulling the plug? Oh, not yet, okay. So theoretically, we could go through this permitting and you may not have money to actually build it. Is that possible?
The next step would be to apply for funding through the same agency for the construction.
Okay.
Now, there'd have to be a decision made. Cost estimates have been out on a preliminary basis. They'll refine it a little bit more to fine line them based on the design.
What are your budget numbers looking like? What are your ballpark budget numbers for construction looking like?
That was something in the range of $500,000.
That's it?
That's it?
That's cheap?
Well,
That's pretty cheap.
I think it would do the job. I mean, I've done enough dam work to I guess, predict what it might cost based on what work would be needed. The permitting and trying to cut back some of the proposed infrastructure that was planned to protect various species and also, some of the vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
So that the town will have to decide, we have to go to town meeting to appropriate money. Also, there was this is private property on the north side of the dam over there.
Mm-hmm.
And his property line is in the river.
Well, that's 23 School Street, yes.
And so that there'll have to be some, rights to be.
Yeah, he filed for a notice of intent about 10 years ago. He did some repair work on his side of the property.
He's the new owner.
Yeah, it's a new owner. The previous owner did some structural repair work prior to selling the house.
Rubber tires.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
He did some foundation work on his building.
But anyway,
Just
the
rubber
the
tires.
area right around the abutment, which where the arrow was, is where the rubber tire retaining wall is, and that's been kind of decaying over the years, and that was one of the driving forces for the Office of Dam Safety to issue an order along with some other deficiencies that they noted. So that we're looking at here for the proposed work, and the current dam is made up of 3 segments. It's a masonry segment, about 30 feet in that area, up in the north area. There's a concrete section in the middle, and then we have a ledge outcrop on the southern portion of it.
So the spillway is concrete, correct, for the most part? But part of the spillway is ledge too.
Spillway's open.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, okay.
They must have been, started with the masonry. They found out that wasn't enough and it was overtopping or something, and put a concrete section in, and then expanded over the ledge. So the idea is to basically put a concrete spillway structure in place of all that cooperation.
Okay. So you're gonna dowel it into the existing concrete and ledge, I would guess.
And then along the private property line area, put in concrete walls, retaining walls from the house, actually from the front of the house on the far side to the, behind his garage area. And then from there to the street, it would be vegetated, erosion mat material. On the south side, the spillway, actual spillway has been enlarged a little bit to accommodate additional flows. And then the stream kind of straightened out a bit with a retaining wall on the southern side and channeling the water down to School Street.
You know, that existing sluice way, that, did you try to operate that gate valve? It was stuck the last time we tried to open it.
It's not shown on this picture, maybe it's on the.
Another one?
No, yeah, maybe.
It's right there.
It's on.
Is that this?
Yeah, it's right there. There's a gate valve there that you,
It's over this way now.
Down.
yeah, it's right, it's right there. Yeah. If you can get that.
Essentially, that's gonna stay, it's in good shape.
Oh, it is? Okay. So you've operated it?
Well, no, the structure
Yeah.
itself.
But I mean, the gate valve, I think it's frozen.
Gate valve is old and rusty,
Yeah,
but it's nice.
yeah.
And the proposal is to have a contractor refurbish it.
Ah, okay.
Put all new wood in there for the stop
Okay,
locks and the
okay.
rear,
Okay.
and make it functional and keep the areas.
Yeah, it's got an old S and Y valve, which I think you could probably resurrect. You can get that thing going.
It's a rack and pinion
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
where, they use a lever to
Yeah.
operate a gear and that lifts the sluice way.
Basically, that's where the water is going while the work is happening on.
Well, yeah, you
the
could use that for your bypass. That's what I'm saying.
Uses the bypass, they don't have to use coffer dams.
I see that.
Upstream of the dam, and they probably will have to use a coffer dam in front of it, that's at some point in the construction, in front of the dike area, that's there to be able to replace these stop logs that are there, because there's two things, stop logs for an overflow, and then the gate itself that are wood.
Have you folks designed the coffer dam, or you let the earthwork contractor do that?
The way it works is, you don't want to tell the contractor what to do, because if it doesn't work.
That's right, means and methods, yeah, means and methods, right.
The contractor will be responsible for the coffer dam, but he'll have somebody design it
Right,
and review it.
right, okay.
And, you're gonna want a contractor that's familiar with working.
That's why I'm saying, between the coffer dam and what you're doing, I think $500,000 is a very lean number for this project.
If you look at the contours there, I mean, it's a big ledge, and there's some heat. He's not gonna be dealing with the full depth. The stream probably originally went through where the dike is, and that's the lower point. So he's not really dealing with too much.
Well,
They have some coffer dams they call porta dams that are like steel braces with canvas.
well, I've seen those, but if you install those, and we've done these before in the past, if you install those on jagged rock, you get underflow underneath the damn sheet pile, and then you got a ground, it becomes very tricky.
Piling won't work there.
Yeah, that's right, you gotta be it's very tricky to get a good seal on those.
And down the two structures that are there, the old barn and the shed, those are gonna go.
Okay,
They're
okay.
deteriorated to a point where they're probably a hazard more than anything.
Yeah, okay.
They're gonna be used as a staging area. They'll be used as a staging area, is what it's shown.
Okay,
Yeah, the staging area is marked out, I think, on a couple of places.
It's right here,
okay.
footprint of the barn.
The channel coming out of the dike area,
Is that this, when you're using the word dike,
well,
where is it? Where is the dike on this plan?
well,
Is
that's right, just right where your left hand is.
It's right here?
You're right there, where the gate is.
Right here.
Physically where the gate
Yeah,
is.
it's an embankment, Dave, it's a little embankment.
It's been called a dike by the Office of Dam Safety, and I guess that's kind of.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I've seen the word dike also, and I've been looking over here, what's a dike,
Yeah,
and how many
yeah.
looks like a dike over there?
They consider these two structures as
Yeah.
opposed to one,
Yeah.
which is one on, they should consider the dam.
Well, so does it have two DCR numbers, dam safety numbers? It's got two separate
We haven't
numbers?
seen this yet. There'll be a permit filed.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the 5-digit number issued by DCR, does this site have two numbers or one number?
Oh, it's got two numbers.
Oh, it has two
Yeah,
numbers.
it's got two.
So you're right, so that dike is a separate entity.
national ID numbers.
Yeah, okay.
And when, originally, when I kind of got involved, they always wanted two reports. which
Yeah, right,
convinced them it didn't make
yeah,
sense.
that's ridiculous, yeah, yeah.
It wasn't
Okay,
really
okay,
efficient. So now it's one report covering
okay.
two numbers whenever, report comes
All
out.
right.
The, and one of the thoughts was to, kind of clear the area, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back to the dike, channel that's already. The original thought in my mind was just to streamline that channel going to School Street, but as Scott will probably, reiterate on is it made a big difference in permitting. So there's a kind of a weir down near School Street up there that kind of restricts the water. That'll be the only thing that's gonna be removed. And the rest of the channel is gonna stay the same.
So there's a culvert underneath School Street that goes back to Bachelor?
The areas in the floodplain, it basically, based on the FEMA maps, overtops by about 5 feet, so you can't make the dam big enough to pass the flood because it overtops anyway.
Go top of the
So
street.
it'll probably take between a 50 and a 100-year storm to, before it starts
Okay.
overtopping on it.
Okay, Dave, are your colleagues gonna comment at all? Chris and the fellow from Ecocheck?
Turn it over to,
Yeah, let's not linger on too, we kind of know what goes on here, so, yeah,
bring them in.
yeah, bring in the other guys.
They're watching this,
Thanks, Dave.
so.
Thank you, Tom. Okay,
Scott, it's your turn.
go ahead, Scott.
Did I hear my name?
Yes, fire away. You got 5 minutes, go ahead.
I kind of give them a brief,
Yeah.
overview of the project. You can talk about, what they're doing to save all the
Sure.
resource areas.
Sure, thank you, Dave. I can hear most of that, not all of it. He did give you an overview of the project. With regards to resource areas, if you're looking at that plan, the green boundaries shown there are BW, and the blue boundaries are bank.
Okay,
You can see the north side of Bachelor Brook there is lacking BBW, it's just bank. And the southwest side of Bachelor Brook, was lacking BBW too, so you get about halfway. And I think it's a D series, you see there, green, goes past that existing structure up towards the road. No BBW, will be impacted as part of the project. Essentially, we're going to install the retaining wall on the north side of the brook, but it will not, it will be in riverfront area and floodplain, but it will not be on the bank, it will be deadly, so there's no alterations there. If you look at the southwest side of Bachelor Brook, you see that thick gray line that goes up to Flag Bentley one, yes, that area there, that's an existing retaining wall. And that is considered defendant there. That would be replaced with a new retaining wall southward there. You see the heavy black dashed line. We're going to widen the stream right up to Flag Bentley B2. We'll be widening the stream There will be 21 linear feet of natural bank that will be impacted, and we're able to mitigate that with 9 linear feet. That's all that we have. When it's all said and done, there'll be 5 additional linear feet of bank on the site. There will be a widened stream channel above the dam, which will provide, project's going to provide an additional 805 square feet of land underwater. It increases in resource areas, actually. We will provide a net increase of 192 cubic yards of flood storage in the floodplain. Net positive. We're removing 1,300 square feet of existing impervious structures. And again, really the only loss, we have lost of 21 linear feet of natural bank.
I got a question for Scott.
A lot of retaining walls on the south side. We're replacing the retaining walls.
Excuse me,
Along the dam, along the pond. That's just existing retaining walls that we replaced, so, you know, it's just vertical concrete bank, really no habitat there.
excuse me, Scott, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Shaheen. When you build your retaining walls, I trust you're gonna put footings in on either soil or rock with the retaining walls?
There'll be foundations under the retaining.
They are, okay. How are you gonna mitigate against a silt and soil transport down the brook during construction? How are you gonna deal with that?
We're proposing, silt fence and stakes, wattle, erosion control barriers, around the work area.
So you're gonna put it between the retaining wall and the brook, and of course the brook will be dry during that procedure because you're gonna be bypassing through the sluiceway, okay.
Using the cofferdam.
And you're using the cofferdam, right.
Contractor will be using controlled bypass.
Right.
Piping to get
Okay.
water past the construction.
All right, so the main portion that's denoted as Bachelor Brook on the drawing, that should be nearly dry during construction activity, is that correct? Okay, that's good, thank you.
Now I gather your question, yes, I think you did.
All right,
Um,
sounds like a
Yeah,
plan.
that's essentially the project with regard to wetland resource areas. There's a net increase in several resource areas. You know, we need to, we've done a performance standards assessment for each resource area on the site. We need those. So that's a quick summary. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
Okay. Any questions on our end? Ed, Marissa, Ann? Ann has a question for you, Scott. Go ahead, Ann, go speak up.
Speak up, Ann. The mic is over here. Not there, not there.
Oh, okay. So what would happen if you guys didn't, improve the dam? If you took it out, what would happen?
The water disappears. The water,
We went through that scenario about 10 years ago. That would lower the water table in the Forge Pond neighborhood below the level at which folks are drawing their well water from, because we're all on well points. And we'd have a lot of really angry people that would not have private water supplies. So that was considered, and through acclamation of the neighborhood, they did not want to do that. But good question, Ann, because again, dam removal is certainly a in vogue protocol across the country these days.
I do have one question.
Sure, Dan.
For anybody. This project is near an area of compensatory storage that was added to Forge Pond due to the Mass DOT work that is taking place on 202, where they had to take wetlands and storage area to put the roadway in. And so on Forge Pond, a large area, it's probably a quarter of an acre, maybe a half acre of land
To the north.
was crafted, it was lowered
Yes.
to be added storage for the pond. So I'm listening to you talk about the additional resource area, which is effectively added storage for a flood condition. And this is a question more for, I don't know who designed this, but are you folks aware of this additional storage that Forge Pond got because of Mass DOT work on 202.
That was the roundabout project, David. And the problem is the elevations are key and critical with respect to that. That's the problem.
The groundwater table in the whole area is pretty high.
Yeah.
Out there, but the contributory area to the dams is, I think, 16 square miles, which basically means
The
that
watershed,
that little
yeah.
spot is-
Yep.
is-
Yep.
It's large because of, you got Turkey Hill Brook, Bachelor.
But again, pursuant to the DOT roundabout project on 202, they had to do a big comp storage area because they did fill above the 100-year flood elevation quite a bit over the last.
So that really
year.
doesn't affect.
That doesn't affect this project. That doesn't affect. Okay. Scott, thank you. Dave, Mr. McClure, fire away, Chris. Good to hear you. Is he still-
Thank you. Yeah, provided the support needed.
Go ahead, Chris. You're loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we did the, site plan, I don't know if there was an actual question that you had, but, obviously, we're going to, do that.
Well, actually, the question is, what's your anticipated date for this going out to bid? And what's your anticipated construction date?
Okay, well, that's gonna rely on, when we obtain the, permits to get, to do the work. And also, assuming that the town is gonna have to, allocate funds to have to go to the town meeting to get approved for that. I don't know where the money is coming from.
It's probably gonna need, basically, well, the town's gonna probably need funding through the same seawall and the dam repair program. And their cycle of applications comes in the late part of the year and early spring.
Dave, is it a grant or a loan?
Well, it's kind of, the way they work it, it's kind of funny, but there is 25% local share involved, as it was for the permit and application portion. Then the rest is, could be grant. The thing of it is they've been trying to stretch their money, so they wind up giving some grant and low interest loan through their program.
And the reason I bring this up, and Dave is keenly aware, we're in process of converting an old school into a town hall, which we really, really need. And there's millions of dollars on the table for that project as well. So I have this funny suspicion that's going to come up at town meeting at the same time your project's going to come up at town meeting, and you're going to have a lot of homeowners with dollar signs flashing in front of their eyes. So I hope we can get some funds to take care of this.
The intent is to file an application when the application cycle comes in for the state's program and see what they come up with.
Okay.
So the purpose right now is this application is to get through the NOI approval process. And then next year, put the applications together for grants or how are we going to fund it? That's actually a 2026 effort. Is that?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The application will probably, they usually do it in the end of the year, around Christmas and New Year's
But the
time.
earliest we would hear about it would
And
be.
then so that and the governor usually comes out with telling you how much money you get in June.
Yeah, that's cherry sheet money.
This
Yeah.
this is looking like
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
2-year
yeah.
away project.
So, dam safety permit, the 253, is that in process?
I'm gonna file that shortly.
Okay.
That's only got a 1-year window of effectiveness.
Oh.
So that
You'll file that at the last moment
kind of
then?
get, there's no rush to get.
I got you. Okay, okay.
And, this is kind of a pretty basic
Okay.
project, so I don't see any process.
So if we can get this approved within the next 3 months, is that reasonable for you folks?
I don't see why not.
Okay, all right, because I think first thing we have to do is set up a site visit.
But then again, I've driven by it. It's
Yeah.
really overgrown.
Yeah.
That building, you can't even see. It looks like a big bush.
You know, that's why we want at least one of you folks to come with us out there, because otherwise we'll get lost. So,
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
If my knee is.
Put in your, we'll put our Tyvek suits on and our mosquitoes.
Right now, you probably get, get into the brush, and by the time you got to the dam, you'd be devoured by the ticks.
I know, it's nasty.
Well, maybe this is something we could push to the fall, I don't know.
Yeah, would you mind
That would be,
delaying this a little bit? Because I'd love to go out here after the leaves fall. It's so beautiful out here in October.
And it's time, basically, there's time.
Okay, why don't we do that? Let's do
For
that.
sure, town meeting is not gonna wind up being this.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough then. That's fair enough.
It'll wind up probably being the following year.
Okay, okay. Well, any other questions on our end? Ann, Marissa, Ed? Dave, Chris and Scott, thank you so much. I'd like to continue this for a month, and I'm guessing we probably won't see you for a couple of months. But whatever you want.
I'm around if you want.
Okay, Dave, but we'll continue this till next meeting.
you're
But-
welcome. I do, thank you. Is this mine?
Yeah,
I can-
you guys are good with continuing it, obviously, correct? Okay, we're good. Thank you so much, fellas. Thank you.
So, folks, I mean, you barely hear that conversation. We continue to get to the August, we say the same.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, this is a
Distorted.
lousy room,
Signal is
Scott.
distorted.
What did you say?
We continue the hearing?
Yes, please, with your permission, with your permission.
You say it again.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
We are continuing the meeting the hearing for one more meeting.
We're ready August 12th?
August
Yeah,
12th
yeah.
is the next
We'll
meeting.
talk to you again. Okay.
When there be a site walk 2020 or?
That's what we were talking about. And due to the vegetation that's currently at the site, we asked, would it be all right if we waited for the vegetation to, in other words, downgrade in the fall? And Dave thought it would be okay to do that. Do you have an opinion on when the site visit should occur? It's really overgrown at this point. That's the challenge we have.
I think there's generally maintenance out here. I don't know what the schedule is for that. I haven't been up here in a while. I'm thinking
The difference between is this big.
Yeah. Well, that was our question. So, that was one of the questions also, by the way, and you saw, Mr. Stinson's comments, I'm sure, about is there a maintenance, plan in place out there? And when you drive by on the streets, it doesn't appear there is any maintenance out there going on. So, because that building,
once or twice a year mowing or something.
well, that's maybe what's there, but the building that's there, you can barely recognize it as a building at this point. It looks more like a hedgerow. Because the amount of,
Walk around there once, and I you couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it.
It's dangerous.
We can, I guess, we can reconvene in August, schedule a sidewalk at that time, or?
Well, we'll discuss it in August.
we can.
Let's see what the
take more
vegetation
looks at
looks
it,
like
see
in
what it
August.
is. We can do that. We can do
The
that.
same thing.
My understanding is no request for any plan review during this time.
Say that again, please.
There's no, plan revisions, requesting additional information.
We're just doing initial review right now, you guys. Yeah, we'll do some technical review and we'll have some comments going forward. But we gotta do some review. Thank you so much. Good to see both of you. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Dave, is there any other business that needs to be addressed?
I think that's it.
Motion.
Can you close the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, very good. Thank you all. Thank you so much.